everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am back from holiday and I had the best time, so thank you for being patient last week because I know there was no video. I also just want to put a disclaimer out there that I was filming on my camera and it just died, so I am using a very shoddy camera right now. But I really wanted to get my content out there to you guys because you have been so patient with me. So I hope you can excuse the quality or the sound if it's not as great as it usually is. Also, tiny disclaimer that I have got all of my windows open because I am melting, and there is someone in my neighbourhood doing some work on his house or something, which you can probably hear, and I've been waiting all morning for him to finish, but it's just not going to happen because I am going to work soon and he's not finishing, so I have to film this for you guys because I really want to get it up for you today. But as I said, my battery did die, so I have filmed this before, and I'm going to say it was a hot mess, so I'm going to try harder to be more... I can't even think of the word. Do you know what I mean? I think the heat's just getting to me. I'm trying to think of a better structure for this video so that it makes more sense, because this is my first requested video, and it's a video about events management as a degree. Apparently there's not many YouTubers out there that are event management students, so there's not a lot of advice about it or a lot of ideas about it, so I'm just going to vent to you all and hopefully help some of you make the decision to choose events management because it's great. So as I've said 100 times, I go to the University of Greenwich, so obviously my experience is going to be a little bit different from wherever you choose to go because each university has its own way of teaching it and sometimes the courses are completely different. So therefore I'm not going to talk about course content. I'll talk about what courses I did, but if you are interested in those you can obviously find that out yourself, and I don't want to just reiterate what it says on the website because I feel like that could be pretty boring. So the courses I did were Introduction to Events, Experience Design and Event Marketing, Professional Practice, and Principles and Practice of Marketing. I didn't know if I already said that one. So I'll give you a brief outline of each just so you know what I'm talking about. Introduction to Events is just about event typologies, the planning process, sponsorship and finance. Experience Design and Event Marketing is pretty straightforward. You learn about the psychology of consumers and how to design an experience rather than just an event. And you also learn about event marketing and how best to market your event to the people you want to attend. Professional practice is a bit meh, if I'm honest. It was a lot of here's how to write a CV, here's how to act in an interview, here's how you should be improving your cover letter, you know, just like typical stuff like that, which if you wanted to know you could always Google or go to one of the workshops that we have at our universities. So I just found it a bit pointless, but we still had reports and essays in it. And lastly, Principles and Practice of Marketing went through pretty much the whole of marketing. I don't even know if that's possible, but it went from the very basics and got more complex and a lot more advanced as we progressed, which is like most courses obviously, but it was really useful. We learnt about consumer behaviours and like theories of how they choose to buy certain things. It wasn't directly linked to events because I was allowed 3 courses and an option, so my option was marketing. You could also choose PR, a language, what else was there? And something else which I can't put my finger on. So another thing I was asked to talk about was the study at home versus the study at uni. So I had 8 hours of lectures a week where it was 1 hour of lecture and 1 hour of tutorial. And a tutorial is basically a small classroom, about 15 of you and the lecturer, where you apply what you've learnt the hour before. I found these really useful because they often gave you like little golden nuggets of information that you could use in your exams, and you also did past questions, and at the time you're like, why am I doing this? But it actually turned out to be super useful, and I'm so happy I attended most of them because I think I would have really struggled otherwise. So my university says that for every hour you do in lectures, you have to do 3 hours out of lectures, like reading and etc, etc. Which I can hand on heart say I did not do. Sorry. It wasn't the way of my learning style. I'm not one of those people who like rewrites notes, you know. I kind of just brainstorm before, so if I was set an essay I would dedicate 2 hours before just on purely researching that topic rather than learning about the whole circumference, which may in the end, I don't know, affect me because I don't know as much as maybe other people. But I mean, it's completely up to you how you choose to style your learning, I guess. So they suggest 3 hours to do all of your reading and research and extracurriculars and stuff. So as for reading, they gave us about 2 or 3 chapters a week that we had to read per subject, per course, per subject for the programme. So that turned out to be, what, like 12 chapters maybe a week, which is quite a lot, but obviously if you've got only 8 hours a week, you've got a lot of time to read. So I did the majority of that. Obviously it is quite tricky unless it's on the online library, because you have to go into the library and try and find it, and if they're all out you have to borrow it off a friend, and it can get quite complicated, so sometimes you do miss out, but just try and catch up afterwards. Although I would say doing it before is so much easier, because so much more stuff in the lecture makes a lot more sense, so you learn it a lot faster, so it means less revision in the long run. They also gave us optional reading, which was about another 2 or 3 chapters, which I again can hand on heart say I did not do because I'm a terrible student. But this was basically just to broaden your learning, and if you were interested in it, and allow you a few subject areas to help you progress your learning even further. So for exams and essays, etc, 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 this year I have had 2 or 3 presentations, about 4 essays and reports, a time constrained report, and 2 exams. So for the presentations, most likely you'll be given a pitch, or I don't know, just like an outline of an event that you need to create with a bunch of people. So that's really good because it gets you experienced in pitching in the future, so you're not afraid of talking in front of a big crowd, and it also is a great way to meet the people that you're in a classroom with. As for the reports, like I said, I usually did 2 hours of researching the topic, then I would plan, then I would write just the basic structure, maybe like 600 words. So most of them were 2,000 word essays. And then I would go back and add more as I researched alongside it. And I would usually take about 2 or 3 weeks to write it, because I do maybe an hour here or there. I wasn't one of those people who could just sit down and write it all, because I like to reflect on the work I've done, I guess. So I would go back and like tweak little bits and get to the word count so that I knew I was putting my best foot forward. Then the time constrained assignment was really scary, because unlike the reports, you don't get the title until the day of. So I was basically given 5 hours to write a 2,500 word report, and you were given the title of the report at 9 AM, like the brief, and you had to hand it in by 3. So no pressure, and I worked up until the deadline, I swear, because like I said, I go back and back and back, and I didn't even eat lunch because I was just sat down researching. I think it was about a plant pot that charges phones. I know, random. It was for marketing. So that was the most intense one, probably more intense than my exams, I would say, because it was just such a long time. But it was actually quite enjoyable, like the challenge, which sounds really like bizarre. But so if you have one of those, make the most of it, because you can't do a lot to prepare, so it's quite scary. And then my 2 exams were both 2 hours long, and pretty straightforward. They obviously have past papers that you can look at. They don't give you past question answers though, which I think is really weird, because they give you, it was basically like a case study and then some questions that you had to answer, and then an option of 2 questions on each exam. So the case study is always going to be different, so why can't they give you the answers? I don't know. So that was really weird, but yeah, 2 exams. And now the big old question, is it worth it? People to this day still ask me, like, so what do you do in an events management degree? I'm like, marketing, HR, economics, you know, it's like quite a broad range of stuff. But I understand that when you say, oh yeah, I'm doing events management, it's like, why? So I think in the long run, I am happy that I've done an events management degree rather than going into it, because I'm working for a few venues now, and it is tedious, because I'm obviously starting at the bottom like you would, and I'm just like polishing cutlery and getting tablecloths and all that, like really boring stuff. So it is an expensive way, but it is a way to jump up and get your name out there to a lot bigger companies, because having that university degree puts your name above a lot of other people's and allows you to jump up a few ranks, which is very useful. And I think it will allow me to get where I want to be a lot faster, because they know that I have that ambition and dedication to the events industry, that I've put all this money and time into it. And so they will take me more seriously than if I don't have any experience and I just want to like test the waters in the events industry. I think there are definitely ways you can go about it otherwise if you weren't so keen on a degree. I mean, you can start for a venue or an agency and work your way up. And I suppose if you showed the same amount of dedication that you would to a degree, you can definitely work your way up if they are willing to offer you the opportunities. But I feel, I don't know, I just really wanted a degree. I wanted the opportunity to live in London, the university experience, because I know so many people grow so much and really find themselves during that period. So I didn't really want to miss out on that. And I also wanted the opportunity to jump up a few ranks in the events industry and start in a position that I was proud of, because I can honestly say it's so dull polishing cutlery. But hey, everybody's got to start somewhere, right? So that's all I have for this video. I hope it made more sense than the last one I tried to film. And if you have any more questions, please leave them down below and I will answer them via the comments, not a new video obviously. Please make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below if you are new. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!